Aloha guys, Chef Ippy here. Today I'm making you guys a recipe right out of my cookbook, the Easy Hawaiian Cookbook. We're gonna make a chili garlic crunch, one of my favorite condiments. Let's get into it. We're gonna chop up a 1/4 cup of shallots. We're gonna chop up 10 garlic cloves. So I want 1/2 cup of dried chilies. We're using a combination for this. We're gonna be using a combination of dried Hawaiian chili peppers. I know a lot of people can't get this, so if you can't get Hawaiian chili peppers, use your regular dried chili peppers. It's totally fine, guys, not a big deal. This is chilies I found in the Mexican, the Hispanic section of our market. It is dried arbol chilies. And we're also gonna use a chili powder. I also have 3 dried shiitakes, about 2 tablespoons of dried garlic, a 1/2 cup of dried chilies, 4-star anise, 2 cardamom pods, 1 teaspoon of white pepper, 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and a tablespoon of Aloha shoyu. The oil we're using is peanut oil. We need a high smoking point oil, so you're gonna have to use canola, peanut, avocado oil. Do not use sesame, olive oil, anything that has a low smoking temperature, don't use that. I used a mix of peanut oil and canola oil. Why? Because I ran out of peanut oil. Nothing fancy, guys. This is super easy. We're gonna prep everything, get everything set up, and get it into a heat-proof bowl. What do I mean by heat-proof bowl? Metal, glass, don't use plastic. We're gonna be putting boiling hot oil in this thing. Heat-proof. First thing we have to do is we have to prep up our chili. Of course, this is the chili garlic crunch. Chili is the most important thing in this dish. I'm cutting the top off and just kind of opening it up, pinching the sides, opening it up like that, and letting the seeds come out, okay? And you kind of just roll it between your fingers if it's not coming out, and eventually all the seeds will pop out of there. You don't have to get rid of all the seeds, but you do want to get rid of most of them. We don't want that bitterness in there. We're gonna be using a whole total of 1/2 cup of dried chilies, but I'm gonna be mixing it up. Now, this part is important. When we make this, we don't want a lot of seeds. We don't want a lot of the seeds from the chili. You can have a few in there, of course. You're gonna wanna see some seeds. It's a chili crunch. You always see the seeds in there. You don't want a bunch though, because seeds are bitter. When you bite into a seed, whether it's tomatoes, peppers, whatever it is, the seed is bitter, and you don't want that. We don't want any of that bitter flavor. So how do we do that? I'm just using my strainer. That you can use a colander at home. This is what we use for when we do deep frying big batches. But again, if you have a colander, use a colander. Put your dried chili peppers in it and kind of just give it a little shake, and you'll see you can separate. You see all of our seeds are hitting the bottom, and we're keeping just the chilies, okay? But this is how we're gonna separate some of our seeds from the chili, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Again, we're making a total of a 1/2 cup of dried chili. I'm not getting rid of all the seeds. There's gonna be some seeds that are gonna get stuck in there. Some seeds are okay. While I have you guys here, my face is burning a little bit. Don't wipe your face while you're cutting chilies. Even me, who's been doing this my whole life, I still did it. Face is burning, so I'm just gonna have to suffer. All for you guys. I'm gonna bring over my induction burner. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on my oil to slowly start heating up. I have a total of 3.5 cups of peanut oil in here. And I'm gonna do an old school trick that we always do at our restaurants to check the oil, since I don't have a thermometer with me. I'm gonna throw in a garlic clove in there. And as the garlic clove starts to kind of brown and start bubbling around the edges, that's how I know my oil is hot. I know my chilies are hot because my face is burning right now, so. Now in this heat-proof bowl, we're gonna take 1/2 cup of our assortment of chili pepper flakes. At this point, we're gonna start building it, so we're gonna be putting all of our ingredients in here, okay? I have 4 shiitake mushrooms. Again, you don't have to use this. You don't even have to put this in the dish if you don't want. I think it adds some nice umami, but you don't have to add it. A teaspoon of white pepper, 2 tablespoons of sugar. Sugar's key, obviously. It's gonna balance it, right? It's hot, not hot, hot, sweet. These are cardamom pods, okay? I have 2 cardamom pods. I'm leaving them whole. You don't have to put them in. If you don't have them, obviously, again, this is just the base. You guys can add, change, do whatever you want. I also have 4-star anise. This and this are gonna be pulled out at the end. That's why I'm putting them in now, but at the end, we're gonna pull them out. You don't want anybody chomping on these things, okay? This is not part of the crunch. It's part of the flavor, but not part of the crunch, okay? So remember, we're gonna pull that out. Next, I'm gonna chop up some ginger. I want about 2 tablespoons of freshly minced ginger. The way we're gonna do that is we have some peeled ginger here. You notice ginger has a grain, right? It's like woods. It's a very woody, fibrous. Start by cutting against the grain. Cut thin slices against the grain. Sea salt, whatever salt you have. Here, we have dehydrated, dried garlic, okay? This stuff is just sliced garlic that they dehydrate. It's crunchy already on its own. It has more of a sweet flavor than your regular garlic because it has a lot of that bitterness pulled out, and a lot of the sugar and the caramelization has been able to start when it's dried like that. And we also have dried onions, but if you don't have it, don't worry about it. Just use the fresh garlic and just use the fresh shallots. I'm gonna show you how we fry those up first to get them crispy. I like to add dried garlic and dried onions because it gives it more crunch, brings more flavor, and I have a restaurant, so I'm able to do it, obviously. So again, this isn't, if you guys don't have it, don't add it in. I've also done it with peanuts. You can use peanuts and ground up peanuts to give it that crunch. I've seen people put miso in there, all different types of flavors. At this point, it's however you want to do it. If any of you guys have been following me for a while and you've been watching my other cooking videos, you'll know my garlic trick. And normally, instead of using the sharp edge of my knife, I would use the dull edge of my knife. That kind of gives you a nice mince, but also smashes it and pulls the oil out. For this one, we're not gonna do it. You wanna slice it, and the reason you wanna slice it is because you want chunks. You don't want it to be perfect. You want there to be crunchy bits of garlic in there. Now that we have that cut up, we can go back to our oil, and you see our oil is just starting to heat up. It's looking just about perfect. As long as it's hot enough where you're able to brown that garlic clove, we'll be good to go. We're gonna be adding a tablespoon of shoyu, or soy sauce. I'm using Aloha shoyu. Aloha shoyu, okay? Aloha shoyu is the best. The reason why is because it has a lower salt content. It's like it allows the other flavors to come through. It complements it rather than overpowers it. I notice other soy sauces, when I do use them, you can taste the soy sauce way more through than with Aloha. That kind of complements it. Aloha is the best cooking shoyu, and you can find it everywhere in Hawaii. If you can't, go on Amazon or on their website, and you can also find it. Putting a tablespoon of regular Aloha shoyu right into there. And I'm gonna put another half tablespoon just because we love Aloha shoyu here. Okay, we're gonna give it a little mix. Mix up that sugar and ginger and everything into there. Okay, and get it ready to go. Finally, last thing we're gonna do, we're gonna add our dried onions to here. Now, we don't have to pre-fry them because they're already crispy, right? So we're gonna add our dried onions and our dried garlic. Give that a mix also. Now, if you don't have these, you don't have to add them. You would just frying these up, and then we would add it at the end like we're going to with these bad boys. So we're looking for 350. You see how it's starting to brown? Yeah, we're 348, we're right there. So you see how the garlic is starting to brown, starting to bubble. This is how I always check my oil. I never usually will use a thermometer. Make sure you pull it out now, okay? You don't want no chunks of burnt garlic in there either. This part's super important, guys. You want to put it in there. You don't want to burn this stuff, okay? We're going to put the shallots in first, let it get a little crispy, then we're going to throw the garlic in and let that get a little crispy, okay? All that aromatics, it smells super, super good. We're also flavoring our oil as we're crisping this up, and we're making crispy shallots and garlic. I also love to do this garlic. If you fry up the garlic like this and dry it and let it get crispy, you throw it on like ribs or chicken wings or anything like that. It is the ultimate little like adding crunch or crisp to anything. See, as you can see, that's frying up. And we want to go until we start turning a little golden. Again, we don't want to burn it, but we do want it to start crisping up a little bit. The reason I put the shallots in before the garlic is the shallots obviously take a little longer. They have a higher moisture content, so they're gonna bubble up just like how you saw right there. And so you don't overflow your pot. See, you can see the garlic is starting to turn. Shallots are starting to turn. If you don't have a fine mesh strainer like this, you can't do this part, no problem. From this part here, you wanna check to make sure your temperature's back up. We're only at about 320 right now. So you just wanna make sure it's back up to about 320 to 350 is fine. And then from here, we would just pour it directly in. So again, it's not a big deal. You skip this next step if you have to. Oil back. Bring it back up to temperature. You're gonna see it's gonna start to get a little sticky because the garlic itself, when it cooks, it releases a ton of sugar. Just like that, you have your fried garlic and onions. So again, if you don't have the dried garlic and onions, you would just double this batch and make double this, okay? FYI for all you guys out there. Yeah, this recipe is a little bit more complicated than the one in the book. So if you get the cookbook, it'll be the base, and then you can kind of add some of these things we're doing. 350, okay. Now that we're up to temp, we're gonna take our hot oil, hot oil, pouring it over raw ingredients to bring out the flavor, bring out the oils, and to actually dull some of those other flavors. You know how garlic or ginger can be spicy? When you add the hot oil to it, it cooks it a little bit and kind of mellows it out, brings the sugars out of it. Oh God, okay, so now as you saw, the hot oil is still cooking it, bringing out all those flavors, mellowing the chili, cooking that crispy garlic and everything. Once it starts cooling off and it starts lightly bubbling like that, we're gonna add back in our dried garlic and shallots. Mix that in to let that start cooking into there also. Now at this point, you're pretty much done. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna let it sit in this hot oil for at least half an hour to let it cool down, come to room temperature. And we're gonna taste it. See what it tastes like. See what it tastes like. Nacho Libres, my favorite movie. Anyway, we're gonna taste it. It's gonna taste good, but we wanna see if it needs more salt, more seasoning. I have a feeling it won't, but we're gonna check it out. So let it get cold, because again, if we tasted it here, not only would my face be spicy and hot from touching it after cutting chilies, but then my mouth would be burnt too. I probably would be bummed, and I probably wouldn't be making a video next week because I'll be so bummed about it. Yeah, my face is still burning. I think I need to stick it in some milk. So there you have it, guys. It's garlic chili crunch. Get a little taste and see if we need. Oh, man. Holy cow. Damn. That's good. Really good. Oh, it doesn't need salt. The sugar, you can taste the sugar. It's like sweet, but it's still really spicy. Again, I use Hawaiian chili peppers, so it's spicy, but it is so good. A lot of flavor. It's really well-rounded. You can put it on anything, guys. Again, anything. Garlic chili crunch. I'm gonna take out those cardamoms and star anise, and there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Lots more to come. Aloha.